What's going on? It's your boy Foxlocks back to another video where today I'm back and we are going to be doing a Doctor Who Doctor tier list. Now I've edited these names to fit what I'm thinking for these doctors. Either godlike, amazing, underrated, deserves a bit more credit, or what were you thinking, BBC? I think we should change that because this is a bit more credit is more like underrated. I think it should be So, like, we're gonna do godlike, amazing, underrated, you were okay, what were you thinking, BBC, or I don't even know who you are. I think we should just get the I don't know who you are out of the way. I don't know who this guy is, sorry. So let's start with William Hartnell. He started it all, like, if he hadn't pulled it off, Doctor just gone. He could be a godlike, however, his character leaves something to be desired. From the majority of his art era, he was just grumpy, and of course he would fumble his lines. If you remember, if you don't, just Google William Hartnell fumbling his lines. You'll see what I mean. For that reason, I just think uh, I think it's gonna be amazing just because he was good. He started it all, but he could have been better. I'm sorry. Patrick Troughton, legendary because he was because if he hadn't pulled off the whole idea of replacing Doctor Zack by regeneration, the show wouldn't have lasted as long. In fact, it could have ended with him. And no, he pulled it off, and here we are. For that reason, and also because of his character, I love his character because it's a very bouncy and happy-go-lucky Doctor who could be a very comforting character. That was reflected in Matt Smith's Doctor. However, Matt Smith also brought a slightly dark side to that as well. So for that reason, and I just think Patrick Troughton is a legendary character. Godlike. He's just a great Doctor. There's nothing more to say. Jon Pertwee, one of my top 5 favorite Doctors. He's insane. His clothes are just awesome. His character is awesome. He was very athletic in his role as the Doctor, which is just amazing. He got a nice classic car. Everything about him just screams awesome. And even the fact that his first few seasons as the Doctor were just him on Earth, because the Time Lords took away his TARDIS controls. Well, it was what? Dematerialization circuit and codes. They took away those things. And he proved it could work. For that reason, and also because he just has a great personality as the Doctor. Godlike. Next, moving on to Tom Baker. I think we all know where he's going. I was gonna fool you. Godlike. He just is one of the best Doctors, and he ranks second on my top 5 favorite Doctors list. Just because he's just one of the best. He lasted the longest, and he's just amazing. Now moving on to Peter Davis. I think it's Peter Davison. It might just be Peter Davis. I'm not sure. But I know it's Peter Davis. Maybe son, but I'm not sure. But anyways, he's amazing. I mean, from what I've seen him, he's good, but he's not great either. I mean, he had a big role to fill, the shoes of Tom Baker, but he also this is also when the show is kind of going down a bit. And for that reason, I think he's underrated. Moving on to the Sixth Doctor, this is why I put What Were You Thinking, BBC? It's not the actor's fault. It's the writers, in my opinion. And that outfit. Just what were you thinking, BBC? Not hating on Colin Baker, because I think for what he did, his character was okay, but I'm putting him in What Were You Thinking, BBC, because of the outfit. I'm sorry. Moving on to Sylvester McCoy. Wait, I should probably spend a little more talking about Colin Baker, why he's in that tier. Just because this is the doctor who tried to strangle his own assistant. This is a doctor whose outfit was crazy. There's no better word to put it. There's no better word for that. And also just he was a bit crazy. Like that was his character, just crazy. Now I appreciate Colin Baker for trying the crazy thing, but it just was too crazy. I'm sorry, Colin Baker. You're a good actor, but you as the doctor, I'm sorry. You're good, but not great, and your clothes suck. I'm sorry. Moving on to Sylvester McCoy. I think this is where, after Colin Baker's show kind of went up a bit again, and then just kind of declined slowly again because of the BBC more focusing on the special effects in Doctor Who than the storytelling, and this just led to most of the stories of the Seventh Doctor not being great. However, with what Sylvester McCoy had, I think he did good with what he had. And he's okay. He's one of the more underrated ones. So I think for that reason, underrated. So next on the list, we have Paul McGann. I'm gonna put him in You Were Okay because he was in that TV movie. Because we don't get much of him. We only got the TV movie, which was bad, and we got Night of the Doctor, which explained how Eighth went into war. Doctor, and we also got some Big Finish stories which I haven't listened to. I have seen none of those, and I have heard none of the stories of Big Finish, so I have nothing to judge him on. But I like him. I think he's a good a doctor, and I think he deserves a lot more. But I'm putting him in You Were Okay because I can't base him off any of the material because I haven't seen any of it except for the regeneration scenes. I'm sorry. Next, we're going into The War Doctor. John Hurt, amazing as the War Doctor. He got a couple Big Finish stories, and apart from Day of the Doctor and his voice in Night of the Doctor, and also a couple of Big Finish stories, that's about it. And also he messed up a lot of people's timelines because when Doctor Who came back on the air when we heard about the Time War and Gallifrey being shut, we had all assumed that Christopher Eccleston destroyed Gallifrey. But, nope. But he's a good actor. Rest in peace, John Hurt, by the way. But I think he deserves more. Now, Christopher Eccleston, one of the best doctors. He ranks 4th on my top 5 favorite doctors list. And for that reason, I think godlike because he's just amazing. If he hadn't pulled off Ninth Doctor when Doctor Who came back on the air, who knows if the modern Who could have lasted as long as it did again. Moving on from 9th into 10th. I'm gonna get hate for this, but I think David Tennant is a little overrated. but he's just a good doctor. He ranks 5th on my top 5 favorite doctors list. Pac Charm ranks 6th on my top 10 favorites. So, David Tennant, you're good. But also just a little overrated, and his god complex, I just can't get over that. I'm sorry. Matt Smith, number 1, my favorite doctor ever. I just love his character, and it's just amazing. And I think he's the only one. I mean, Jodie Whittaker, I like the idea of having multiple companions, but you have to strategically do it. Like with Matt Smith, it was Rory and Amy, or Rory, Amy, and Professor Riverson. But you have to do it strategically in order to make all these characters' personalities mix well. But still, Matt Smith, amazing. Just my favorite doctor ever. I can't really say anything more about him. But he's just amazing. I'm sorry. Now we're moving on to 12th Doctor. I think he should go in amazing. Peter Capaldi, unarguably one of the more underrated Doctors. However, I'm not putting him in underrated because I think he's amazing. I mean, I've only seen about. I'm kind of like almost done with his second season of Modern Who. I need to watch a couple more to be fully done with the second season of him. But I think he's just amazing as a doctor. He's really cool and very serious. And I think the chemistry between him and Clara is pretty good. I just never felt that with Clara and Matt Smith because I I just feel it more with Clara and Peter Capaldi, because with Matt Smith I always felt it with Karen Gillan and sorry, I just felt it more with Rory and Amy, because I just felt that more with Matt Smith. But with Clara, I mean, if they had gone off, if Matt Smith had stayed on for another season with Clara, maybe I could have felt that, but I just feel it more with Clara and Peter. I'm sorry. Now, moving on to the last 2 Doctors. I think we should start with Jodie and end with Jo Martin. So, Jodie Whittaker. I'm going to get hate for this. I know people are going to think, what were you thinking, BBC, or you were okay. But I'm going to put her in underrated just because, like, these are the actors who I think deserved more than what they were given. Like, maybe I should put him up in amazing. But, like, these 2 right here deserved better writers, at least. Like, Sylvester McCoy deserved a better BBC era, and Jodie deserves a better writer. I'm sorry, Chris. You are crap at writing Doctor Who. I am sorry. Can we get somebody else? But, like, okay, so let me explain to you if Chris Chibnall is watching, which he probably isn't. But if he is, there's something that my teachers tell me when I'm writing an essay. They tell all of us, show, not tell. Like, if it's blatantly obvious what we're being shown, you don't need to tell us. Or if it's not obvious what we're being shown, then you can tell us. But you don't need to show and tell us. We're not preschoolers, Chris. My God. And I think Jodie deserves a better writer because I feel like she's too scared to mess it up, knowing, like, all these amazing people came for her, except for this guy. I don't know why he's here. Is he even a doctor? I'm not sure. I think he's from the 6th Doctor series, but I don't know. But all these people came before her. She's scared to mess it up, so she tries to do what they did. But I think she needs to put her own spin on the character. which she did a couple of times. We saw it briefly a couple of times with her coming across as a toned down version of David Tennant's God complex phase as the Doctor, with her like telling her companions she's got all the answers to just make them feel a bit safer, when really she doesn't have all the answers, which I quite like, which I think would be a very interesting take on the Doctor. Like we all were kind of shocked with David Tennant's God complex Doctor phase, but to see a toned down version of this, I think would be really interesting, and I'd like to see that more in like the series 13 of Doctor Who. But I'm just hoping we get a better writer, and I'm hoping that we all look back at Jodie and thank her for her time as the Doctor, and just say screw Chris Chibnall, because it's mainly his fault. You may be like, but Jodie makes it sound like we're all preschoolers. Dude, you want to hate on somebody for that? Hate on Chris Chibnall. She's just reading the script. She's not doing it on purpose. She's just reading the script, okay? If you want to hate on somebody, hate Chris Chibnall for that script. So, my God, again, I'm getting into a rant about it. So, but I just think she needs a better writer, and I think she could be in an amazing tier. The only reason she wouldn't be in a God tier is because of the first two series. Like series 11, with the first episode, most people gave it the benefit of the doubt because it's a regeneration story. It's gonna be quirky and crazy as the Doctor tries to figure out themselves. Like, we all expected that, and we weren't shocked about it. We just gave it the benefit of the doubt. End of season 11, nobody was pleased. Season 12, step up from series 11, but that's not really saying anything because of how bad series 11 was. But we get, but still, it was better by a good, healthy margin. However, the Timeless Child arc just ruins it, because, like, the only thing it clarifies is this scene in Tom Baker's Doctor where he's battling a dead Time Lord called Morbius, and there's in like a mind game, and there's previous regenerations before Hartnell that we saw. You probably know what I'm talking about if you've seen Tom Baker's Classic Who. If you'd probably know what I'm talking about. And so that kind of clarifies that, like, oh, well, okay, but it's just weird as well, just because, oh, so you're just telling me that the Doctor is the source of all Time Lords? This just isn't right. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't know what you were thinking. However, there is a theory going around that this is going to be like rectified in a sort of in like series 13 or series 14 with the big plot twist being like I've heard like theories, because there have been some supposed leaks that this Doctor Who takes place in an alternate universe. Like, this is the Doctor that we've seen before, like all these, okay? Like all these that came before her, this is the current one. However, it's set in an alternate universe. The theory is that the TARDIS fell through into an alternate universe, and this is why there are two Doctors, and this is why I'm gonna put her and you are okay. So, like, just because we've only gotten one episode of her, no big finish, she deserves more. But it's like, so this is why there are two Doctors, and neither one of them recognizes the other. Like, surely, if this was set in the future, like, if this Doctor was from the future, she would recognize Jodie, and Jodie wouldn't recognize her. If this were a past Doctor, she wouldn't have recognized Jodie, but Jodie would recognize her. Neither one of them recognized each other, so either amnesia plays into all this, which would gladly make the fans happy, because it means that the Doctor forgets she's the Timeless Child, which it's just not. It's a lazy way to write off the Timeless Child arc, or a leak that I think it might be real, but it's just a theory leak. Well, it's actually a leak that somebody made into a theory that it's two Doctors set in an alternate universe. which I think would make sense that it could work. The Doctor is still a time traveler, which would make Chris Chibnall happy, but it would make the fans happy because that means that our Doctor, the one we've grown to love, is not. Because, I mean, it would be that this Doctor is the timeless child, but this Doctor isn't. But that relieves the question, who's the timeless child in our universe? Just pointing it out there. But that is, my Doctor tier list. Like, you may not agree with me, and I've done a few rants of, like, why these Doctors should be in these tier lists. This one I'm not gonna rant about because, like, she's only gotten, like, one episode. And she has a lot more going for her. Jodie just deserves a better writer. Sylvester McCoy deserved a better BBC. Paul McGann and these guys deserve more stories. Colin Baker, outfit and craziness. Amazing because these guys have their personalities. They were a bit grouchy, but softened as well. These guys, God tiers, because they just scream. They are the Doctors that everybody loves. And also, this guy's underrated. I just put him there because I don't really know much about his Doctor Who run. Ugh, I gotta stop. This is a bit bad on my throat. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Fox Lux, signing off. Peace.